You've probably heard the rumors: a single bug bite can paralyze you, leaving you unable to move or breathe on your own. It sounds like a terrifying myth with no basis in reality, but what if it's not just a myth? Imagine being outdoors, enjoying nature, and then suddenly feeling a tiny pinch, a bug bite that seems harmless at first. But as the days go by, you start to feel a creeping numbness, a weakness that spreads from your feet to your hands, and then to your arms and upper body. It's a scenario that's all too real for some people, and it's linked to a rare disorder that can be triggered by something as small as a bug bite. The question is, can a bug bite really be the culprit behind such a devastating condition? So you're probably thinking, how often does this actually happen? Well, every year thousands of people are diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a condition that's as rare as it is debilitating. It's not just a few isolated cases, either. We're talking about a significant number of people whose lives are turned upside down by this disorder. And the scary part: it can affect both sides of the body, leaving people unable to move or breathe on their own, and often requiring mechanical ventilation just to stay alive. The stakes are high, and the trigger can be something as tiny as a bug bite. It's a harsh reality that's hard to wrap your head around. And with thousands of people affected every year, you have to wonder, what are the chances it could happen to you? You're probably thinking, what are the odds, right? But for Emily, a 35-year-old hiker, those odds became a harsh reality. She was walking through the woods, enjoying the scenery, when a tiny tick latched onto her skin. At first, it was just a small bite, a minor annoyance. But within weeks, Emily found herself struggling to walk, her feet and hands feeling like lead weights. She tried to brush it off as fatigue, but the weakness was spreading, creeping up her arms and into her upper body. Imagine not being able to lift your own arms, or walk without stumbling. That's what Emily was facing. And as she looked down at her trembling hands, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. So what's happening inside Emily's body is that her immune system is mistakenly attacking the peripheral nerves, which are like the highways that carry signals between her brain and the rest of her body. It starts with the damage of the myelin insulation, a fatty layer that protects these nerves, kind of like the plastic coating on an electrical wire. When this insulation is damaged, it's like the wire is exposed, and the signals get disrupted. In some cases, this process can be triggered by a viral infection, but in Emily's case, it's possible that the bug bite was the catalyst. And here's the surprising part: this damage can happen in just a matter of hours, with the immune system launching a full-blown attack on the nerves, causing the symptoms to spread rapidly. As the myelin insulation breaks down, the nerve signals start to falter, leading to muscle weakness that creeps up your legs, starting in the feet and hands, and then spreads to the arms and upper body, like a slow-motion wave. You felt that numbness in your fingers when you've slept on your arm wrong, but imagine that sensation spreading, taking over. The symptoms can develop over hours, or it might take a few weeks, but when it happens, it's like a switch has been flipped. The back is often the first to feel it, a tingling sensation that moves up, and before you know it, your arms are weakening, your breathing getting shallower. 15% of people with Guillain-Barré syndrome will need a ventilator to breathe, and every minute counts. The question is, can doctors catch it in time to prevent? Respiratory failure, where the body's ability to breathe on its own is lost. Imagine being unable to take a deep breath, your lungs struggling to expand, as the carbon dioxide builds up in your blood. The clock is ticking, and for 15% of patients, a ventilator becomes the only way to keep them alive. Doctors are racing against time to diagnose and treat, as the symptoms escalate and the body's respiratory system begins to shut down. Every minute that passes without treatment increases the risk of irreversible damage, leaving you wondering, will they be able to intervene before it's too late, or will the paralysis spread, silencing your breath forever? As the immune system mistakenly attacks the peripheral nerves, the damage spreads like wildfire, engulfing the delicate myelin insulation that keeps your nerves functioning. You can almost see it happening, the protective coating disintegrating, leaving the nerves exposed and vulnerable. The peripheral nervous system, once a flawless communication network, begins to fray, causing muscle weakness to creep up your arms and legs. The situation spirals out of control, with every passing moment bringing you closer to the brink of respiratory failure. Your diaphragm, the very muscle that expands your lungs, starts to weaken, making each breath a struggle. And if the paralysis reaches your brainstem, the consequences will be catastrophic, leaving you wondering, can anything stop this downward spiral? You're probably wondering what happens to people like Emily after they've been diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Well, for some, the road to recovery is long and arduous. Imagine being unable to move or breathe on your own, relying on a machine to keep you alive. That's the reality for about 15% of people with this condition, who develop respiratory muscle weakness and need mechanical ventilation just to survive. As you think about Emily's story, you might ask yourself, what triggers this immune system malfunction in the first place? Sometimes, it's a viral infection, other times it's surgery or a vaccination, but the exact cause often remains a mystery. The uncertainty is unsettling, leaving you with a lingering sense of vulnerability, a reminder that even the smallest creatures can have a profound impact on our lives. You're probably wondering what happens to people like Emily after they've been diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Well, for some, the road to recovery is long and arduous, with 15% of them needing mechanical ventilation just to breathe. Imagine being hooked up to a machine that does the breathing for you, just because a tiny bug bite sparked a chain reaction that crippled your body's ability to function. The damage to the myelin insulation of peripheral nerves is so severe that it can take months, even years, for some people to regain control over their muscles. And even then, some are left with lasting effects, a constant reminder of the tiny creature that changed their life forever. As Emily's story fades from the headlines, her daily struggle remains, a quiet testament to the devastating power of a single bug bite. So Emily's story doesn't have a happy ending, at least not yet. The bug bite did trigger Guillain-Barré syndrome, and she's now paralyzed, fighting for every breath. You can see her lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by beeping machines and tubes, her body frozen in a state of complete paralysis. The machines are breathing for her, pumping air in and out of her lungs, a stark reminder of how fragile our bodies can be. And it all started with a tiny bug bite, a tiny prick of pain that unleashed a chain reaction of devastating consequences. As you look at Emily, you're left with a haunting thought. A single bug bite can be the difference between life and a lifelong struggle, a constant reminder of the delicate balance between our bodies